Hi witches! So today's topic actually comes from something that was suggested to me on Instagram by Reptilio Witch, so be sure to go give them a follow or say hi or something. And also, thank you so much for the topic suggestion. I am going to be running another little poll or sticker thing for more topics in case, because I feel like I'm just talking about stuff that I want to talk about. So I really want to cater and to my community and talk about things that you guys are interested in. So let me know. But today we are going to be talking about ways that you can pray as a pagan. Now, this is going to be kind of a difficult video because everyone's paths are different, and everyone worships differently. So if you're not feeling called to use one technique or another, that's okay. You don't have to use any or all of these. But there are many different ways that pagans might pray. So the one thing that I did want to touch on is that the fact that there are some pagans who are specific reconstructionists of a specific pantheon from back in the day in ancient times, right? So you might have heard the term Celtic reconstructionist or Greek reconstructionist. Those are the two that I see the most. These people or these practitioners are really focused on bringing old traditions back to life and practicing in a very specific way that is historically backed. It's the way that people historically have been proven to have prayed or worshipped their gods, and I think that is amazing. So if that is you, if that describes you, awesome, more power to you. In my personal practice, I feel like I take a more modern and personal approach to a lot of things. So I think both ways are valid. In their comment, the person who suggested this was specifically interested in learning about prayer beads and pagan prayer beads. And while this is something that I've seen in more recent times, I do have a set that I made, and I actually have a video about it, so I will try to link that. But I made these for Hearn. This is mostly because I tend to fidget a lot, so this helps me kind of just focus my other energy. So I like to, to keep my mind focused. So I tend to use this as more of a tactile tool to connect. I made it with stones and stuff, and then also have a really cool deer jaw that I wire wrapped. So this was an offering to Hearn, but it's also something that I will hold this in one hand and wrap around the other, just as a focus object while I am praying. So that is really the use of this specific tool in my practice. It's not so much that I'm going bead by bead and focusing on it and praying it like a rosary. However, there is a creator on TikTok that I've seen, Witchy Fran, who does, I believe they're a Catholic witch or use elements of Catholicism in their practice, which is really cool. So they do have a rosary that they specifically use in their practice in various ways. So check them out. That's really cool. I do try to use some historical things in my prayers. So I use a lot of epithets, especially for my Greek and Egyptian gods. So Hecate Anodia, Hecate Brimo, Hecate Triformis, Hecate of the Three Formed, whatever. So that was so disrespectful. I'm so sorry. But you guys know what I mean. I enjoy using the epithets to call on different aspects of the deities that I work with. That's primarily what they're for, but I find that stating their titles in a prayer is a really big sign of respect. But that being said, I tend to write most of my own prayers, to be honest with you. I find it not only kind of a devotional act because it takes me time and energy and thought and dedication to write these prayers for my deities. And I plan on actually making small prayer books for each of them so I can write everything down. But generally speaking, it has to do with whatever working I am doing. So if I have an abundance working, I will actually write a whole prayer to whatever deity I'm working with in that working, should I so choose, that goes along with what my intention is. So I hope that makes sense. I think that's something that really just bugged me about the Christian church, amongst other things, was this standardization of everything. It's well, what if I don't connect with the words in this psalm? Or what if I don't connect with da 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 da? And that's something that I like about my practice because I can be a little bit more open with it. On the same side, I do recommend at least learning the historical basis of how each deity that you are praying to was worshipped, not only just for your own knowledge, but maybe to use some of that in the way that you interact with them. I just see it as very respectful. And we don't necessarily want to take the deities out of the context of the way that they were worshipped entirely. So by kind of going back and using traditional phrases or symbols rituals, maybe offerings, stuff like that, or a specific set of actions that might help you further connect with this deity and help you just deepen your practice. And I think it's always good to research the historical things and historical meanings behind certain actions when you are interacting with any sort of culture, just because knowledge is power. So yeah. For more modern things, such as celebrating the Wheel of the Year, because that is a much more modern practice than it kind of comes across, but the Wheel of the Year originates in Wicca, which happened in the mid 20th century. Now, for more modern practices, such as maybe celebrating the Wheel of the Year, there are prayers that are associated with those holidays. I have found definitely quite a few on the internet that I have just liked because they sum up what I feel really eloquently in a way that I don't feel I could have otherwise. I would say, if you find a prayer in a book that you particularly like, write it down in your book of shadows and start using it in your practice. You don't need permission to do that. That's what it's there for. If you really like it, it's okay to use that. And to do this more for the more modern holidays, such as the Wheel of the Year, I just find that other authors who really are connected to the holidays a little bit more than maybe I am, even though I love all of them a lot. They just kind of sum up the season and the feeling of the season in a way that I just can't. So I really love incorporating other authors' prayers into my own workings because they're just, just let the experts be the experts in writing things. But at the same time, it's also a very creative, very personal thing when it comes to working with my deities for me. I hope that answered some questions. If you want me to elaborate further, let me know, but it's kind of hard for me to speak on everyone's paths, I feel like, and I don't want people to be like, this is the way I have to pray in order to be a good witch, because there are so many avenues and so many paths out there for everybody. So let me know what you think, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!